Have you ever asked a question or asked for someone to do something and not gotten the response you wanted? Well, I think this is really, really common for a lot of folks, and it happens in our marketing, it happens in our written communication, it happens in our verbal communications, it happens with prospects, it happens with customers, it happens with employees, it happens with family members. It happens a lot of times in our life, and there's a really easy solution that you need to know about. And anytime I struggle with this, so anytime I'm not getting the response I wanted, I often look back at, well, what was I communicating? Because communication winds up being the response you get. And so I'll say that again, communication winds up being the response you get. So the response is whatever you communicated. So here's a really simple example of that. If I was speaking at a conference, which I'm speaking this week at a HubZone conference, if I was speaking at a conference and I asked the audience, who here has ever bought a home? The odds are this is what's going to happen. There's some people in their head, they're going to say, well, I bought a home. Some people will just verbally say, yeah, I bought a home. Some people will raise their hand, that sort of thing. I'll get a bunch of different responses to what I communicated. Now, it's easy for me to get frustrated if I'm on stage and I ask that question, and what I wanted was for anybody who's ever bought a home to raise their hand. But I didn't say that. I never at any point said that when I asked the question. So, if I want to change the response I'm getting, I've got to change my communication. In that situation, I would say something like, put your hands up way up high if you've ever bought a home. And that I'm giving a command at that point. And in that situation, I give the command because I want people to not think about it. I just want them to raise their hand if they've ever bought a home. Because I could have said, if you've ever bought a home, would you please raise your hand? I'll probably only get half the response I want out of that. But if I say, put your hand way up high if you've ever bought a home, boom, most of the people in the audience are going to raise their hand that have ever bought a home because I've given a command instead of just a general question. I've changed the way I'm communicating what I want, and I'm getting the response from the crowd that I actually want. So how does this apply to regular business? Because not everybody speaks and all that kind of stuff. Well, one, if you do speak, that's a little trick right there to get the audience engaged, is communicating with commands a lot of times and questions, but commands that spur people to do what you want. Because once they are doing those things, then you can kind of pull them into the presentation and everybody gets a lot more out of it. But one of the places that I see this the most helpful is written and verbal communication. And as a business owner, as a marketing person, as a salesperson, we do a lot of written and verbal communication. And it happens in the forms of emails to contracting officers, program managers, small business reps, teaming partners, all these people where we're asking questions or we're trying to get a response, but we're not being clear enough. So this is as simple as it has to be. If you are not getting the response you're looking for, go back and look at your communication. Was your communication crystal clear about what you were asking about? If not, or if you get a message back and you're like, I'm even more confused than when I started, the problem is on the communication side. It's how you're asking the question or what you're asking, or maybe you're not even asking a question. Maybe you're writing a paragraph and there's no question, there's no call to action, there's no directed response that you are asking the audience to give. Now, one of the challenges that I want to talk to you about real quick about written communication, whether it's email or proposals, is I was just reading a study over the weekend where they were talking about the average person in America, regardless of education level. So this is regardless of whether you didn't finish high school or whether you have a PhD. The average person in America only reads at about a fifth or sixth grade level. Part of that is because by the time you get to the fifth or sixth grade, That's about the most complex the books that you're ever going to be assigned in class. It's about as complex as they're ever going to get. Is about the 5th or 6th grade level. Then you look at testing and all those other things that happen, and that's about as complex as it gets. It ratchets up a notch or so in high school, but not that much. And so the average person never really progresses their reading level beyond that. And look, most kids, when they're in that kindergarten through 5th, 6th grade level, you're so excited about reading and looking at books, and the books are shorter and that sort of, they have a lot of pictures and all that kind of stuff. And so we like to read. But as you get older and there's less pictures and that sort of stuff, we don't read as much. So by the time you're an adult, a lot of people don't even read one single book a month. And when you don't use a skill like that, you lose it. And so average person reading at 5th, 6th, 7th grade level, whatever it may be, and you're constantly sending emails, constantly writing proposals, and all these sort of things, and that written communication style is difficult on people, on the average person who even has a 5th, 6th grade level, much less somebody who has dyslexia or any other sort of reading or learning or comprehension ability, disability type things going on. So we have to get clearer about what we're trying to communicate. This is another reason why I'm constantly talking about metrics. When you can throw a number into the situation, it helps break up the monotony of the written communication, and it makes it easier for people to read what you're talking about. And there's the added benefit of the wow factors and the sort of social proof that you've done what you've done. And so that's what makes metrics so super valuable. Now, this is not only a good technique when you are dealing with customers, it's also really good when you're looking internally, because internally, if you're struggling with employees, a lot of times it goes back to what are you communicating? If you're not getting what you're asking for, you've got to go back to how you're communicating. For example, if I wanted something turned into my office by lunchtime so that I could get it wrapped up, so that I could finish my piece of it by the end of the day, and I just told my employee, hey, I just need this done by the end of the day, and I'm thinking I need the whole thing done at the end of the day, but I didn't tell them, give me your part by noon, I'm going to be frustrated when they turn in their part at 4:30. I just am. So if you really wanted them to turn their piece in at noon, tell them that's the deadline. You just got to tell them that. So that's another thing, is we've just got to communicate specifics on what we are actually trying to get. Whatever the response is that you want, you've got to be very specific about that. Just like with this video. If I'd like you to like and share this video, all I need to say is please like and share this video. If you have a comment, please add your comments. I'd love to go back and forth on what your thoughts are on communication. And boom, it's that simple. I've elicited some engagement by just asking you. And hey, that's not just me giving an example. I'd love for you to like, comment, and share this video and share what your thoughts are on communication. Maybe you have some struggles about it, or maybe this was an eye-opening video for you. I'd love to hear those thoughts from you. So if you have any questions at all, you know how to reach me. You can either respond to the video directly, or you can shoot me an email or a LinkedIn message, and I'll get back to you right away. Thanks for watching this video, and we will see you next time.